Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to IVCC and our IVCC Board Candidate Forum. My name is Mike Phillips. I teach geology here at IVCC, and we're going to start just kind of the ground rules. The way the questions go is you would write a question on one of the index cards that are available by the door, and Autumn can pick that up from you. So if you are inspired to ask a question kind of midway through, you can write it down and hold it up, and Autumn will come and get it. The moderators here are two of our students. They're sorting through the cards and trying to combine things that are similar questions. We're going to allow each candidate 3 minutes to introduce themselves, and then after that they'll have, as we go through the questions, they'll have 2 minutes to answer the question, and they don't have to take the whole 2 minutes if they don't want to. But we'll get through as many of the questions as we can. So if you start to do the math, each question could take up to 6 minutes, and then so 10 questions, that's an hour, and we got time. So I'm going to be sitting down in the bottom with timer sheets to cut them off if they go for too long. But Chad is very kind, and he won't cut off their mic. So let's see. And so I think without any further ado, we're going to let the candidates introduce themselves. But first, I'll introduce our moderators. So we have Emma and Ashton up here, who've very kindly agreed to stand in front of the crowd and ask the questions. So, like I said, they're sorting through here, but they'll be getting up here next. And so, without further ado, we'll start with Bill Hunt. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Bill. You've got 3 minutes, and then we'll go Marlene and Todd, and then we'll start rotating who gets to answer their questions first.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Bill Hunt. First, I want to thank the college for putting this on. It's a great way for us to get our names out there, and you get an idea of what we stand for. Foremost, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a grandfather. That's the most important part of my life. I'll give you a little background on myself. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, served 7 years in the United States Navy. After my service in the Navy, I transitioned to the U.S. Treasury Department, where I was an agent for them. I also worked as a logistics analyst for the Cook County Sheriff's Department. When I left the service of the government, I transitioned to the private industry. I was the director of operations for United Airlines. I was the director of finance for ALG Admiral, a international freight forwarder company up in Wooddale, Illinois. And in the 8 years afterwards, I spent working with J.C. Whitney in LaSalle as a private consultant. I owned a sports apparel store with my wife that we had great success with as well. My involvement with the community runs deep. I was on the Planning Commission in Mendota, Illinois for several years. Afterwards, I was a 3-term alderman, also serving as the city's first vice mayor. My involvement with IVCC is another one. In 2021, I was appointed to fulfill the unexpired term on the Board of Trustees. It was a wonderful experience. It really got me engaged in what IVCC does. After my term on the board, I was asked to join the IVCC Foundation, where I currently serve as vice president. My wife, my sons both went to school here. It's a passion that I have for this school. I'd like to stay involved with what we're doing here. I'd like to keep on going. I've seen what the power of education to transform people's lives and do the right thing. IVCC offers a quality, affordable education. They have a wonderful administration and faculty that are keenly aware of what the students need and what the industry that we support has. So I would like to be a part of that to move forward. This is not a broken institution. It's a wonderful institution. I just want to be a small part of it. My background in education, I attended the University of Alaska. I went to several community colleges in Chicago, Daly College, Harper College. I'm a graduate of the Federal Government Law Enforcement Training Center in Marana, Arizona, and I have various technical training schools at the U.S. Navy. So again, thank you for your time. I look forward to the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
Well, I echo Bill's welcome. Appreciate you all taking some time out from your midday activities to join us. To me, that means that you believe that this is an important election and that the Board of Trustees is an important entity, part of the college. My name is Linda Marlene Moshage. I am a 28-year resident of Waltham Township, rural Utica, originally from downstate, but married a man from LaSalle, Illinois, so we raised our family here, our 4 children. 3 of our 4 children attended here, 2 graduated, 1 transferred. I myself gained credentials here and was an instructor, but I jump ahead. The reason why IVCC means so much to me is because it is a stellar example of the Illinois community college system. Although I am a proud graduate of the University of Illinois, class of 1980, after my husband and I returned from 4 years serving in West Africa as Peace Corps volunteers, my career interests diverged from being an anthropologist. I decided that what I had seen in Ghana convinced me of the essential nature of healthcare, community healthcare available to all. So I decided to reorient myself and become a registered nurse. But how could I do that? My husband and I have been married 6 years. We've started our family. There was no way I was going back into a 4-year program. We returned to Champaign-Urbana, where I found Parkland College. Community college is well known for its nursing program, and I joke and say it took me 4 times as long to get an associate's in nursing as it did to get my bachelor's degree, but it was worth it. And that's what I want to ensure, that the community college remains affordable, high quality, accessible. Here I was on staff as an adjunct faculty for the therapeutic massage program. I had also gained my certificates, my basic and advanced certificate in therapeutic massage, and worked at our local cancer center. So I am hugely indebted to IVCC, Parkland College, and the community college system, and want to continue to support it in any way I can.
My name's Todd Volker. I'm a Princeton High School graduate, and after that I went to Knox College, and I was a Hubert Humphrey Fellow at the University of Minnesota for a year. After that I went to the University of Illinois. I finished a master's degree. I have taught here a long time back as an adjunct, a number of classes. I really have enjoyed teaching, and in the time since then, you know, you get a taste for it. In the time since then, I've continued doing some teaching, doing continuing education here, and then also at Sauk Valley Community College, Kishwaukee Community College, College of DuPage, Joliet Junior College, Kankakee, and Illinois Central. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy the whole teaching and learning process. I think one value that I bring to whatever I do is that I'm a reader, and if you're a good reader, you tend to gather important bodies of knowledge. You also tend to be a good writer. I think that that has helped my background throughout. After college, after grad school, I got work in community affairs and corporate philanthropy. In the Illinois Valley here, I was the person who wrote the National Trust for Historic Preservation, the nomination for the Hagler-Karras Mansion. I helped set up the foundation. I also helped set up the Illinois Valley Fine Arts Trust, which was just under $1 million, and that was a long time back. That ended up becoming the bedrock for the Starved Rock Community Foundation, their arts fund. They incorporated the Illinois Valley Fine Arts Trust. I'm actually a 4th generation, if you count, Illinois Valley person. My great-grandparents came here and were near Winona. My father, who I'm glad to see here today, this young guy, grew up in Winona. He married my mother, who grew up in Streeter. They live in Princeton. My mother served on the Bureau County Board there for a number of years. I'm on the Ottawa Plan Commission, and I live in Ottawa. I've been there 20 years. I have a wife and a son. My son's recently been a student here, so the educational process is great. My current work is in economic development. I was a business consultant and business advisor before then, working mostly with small business. I served for about a year or so, year and a half, as the executive director of Habitat for Humanity of LaSalle, Bureau, and Putnam counties, which is good because I know a lot of the people in the communities throughout, good people, table, and that's where my passion for helping in this capacity comes from. I respect the Illinois Valley region. It has some phenomenal strengths. So I'm going to stop because I only have 30 seconds left, but thanks for coming here today. You're apprised that these are important issues that we're dealing with, and I thank you for your time.
So the first question I will ask is, what are your top priorities for when you are elected? And we will start with Bill.
Well, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, the priorities would be to get a basic understanding and then a thorough understanding of what the IVCC board is doing to support the administration and the faculty and students. This is be learning on the job. I have of course, have a couple of years on the board, so I have the basic tenets, what's going on. But going forward, you want to make sure that the college is moving forward. They have a plan to move forward, that they stay financially secure and a viable entity. And we also need to be cognizant that we're supporting the businesses that also drain from this college. Our students go out into the workforce, and we want to make sure that they're prepared for any challenges or tasks that come before them. Thank you.
Next, Linda Marlene.
Yes. Well, of course, I echo Bill's intent to be a well-prepared board member. If I'm elected to the board, you're entrusting me with representing you, a 2,000 square mile district, for 6 years. That's a long time. Now, the first year, of course, it's going to be kind of getting to know you and vice versa. But one of my priorities is not only to work in association with the administration, faculty, staff, but to continue to get to know the student body and to go out into the communities, being an active advocate for the Illinois Valley Community College. And during that time, listening. What is do you have a relationship with IV? Have you sent one of your children to school here? Have you taken a class yourself? What was good? What could be better? And then bringing that feedback, because we are a 7-member board, bringing that feedback to our administrators and saying, this is what I'm hearing. Is there further conversation that should be occurring because of that? So that is one of my top priorities. Thank you.
Bill? Todd.
Hey, I think all of us here realize that being on a board is a teamwork kind of thing. We're not individuals who can, boom, make changes. But I think we can all agree that it's going to take a while to get up to speed with the latest, financials of different projects and things. I've known the past 2 presidents for IVCC. I've been really thrilled at what Tracy has done. I almost feel like you should stand and take some applause. You've done a great job because you've been out in the community. I think 80% of your job is probably getting out there and raising the visibility. To answer the question, I think what the college needs now and in the future, increasingly, is going to be good marketing. And I think we've taken some good steps in that direction. But I think facing the situation, marketing is going to be important for the college.
Thank you. What do you see as IVCC's biggest challenge, and what do you see as IVCC's biggest opportunity? We'll start with Linda Marlene.
Well, biggest challenge, I think, is unfortunately our present climate of uncertainty. If you think of an educational system as a machine, and a machine that has many gears that work together, right? And if you fracture one of those gears, I'm speaking from my husband's mechanical engineering experience, all of a sudden the whole machine is not working very well. In fact, no longer efficient, and maybe even completely breaks down. So one of the things, the challenge, I think, is moving forward in the new environment that we're facing with a new federal administration. Significant changes to departments, for instance, the Department of Education that educational community has come to rely upon. And what does that mean? So you need a steady leadership, a captain at the helm, but you need everybody rowing in synchronization, right? The 7 board members, etc. Because we got to keep things steady. And the reason why? Because you are the reason why we are here. If students and the community did not support this institution, it would all go up in a puff of smoke. So we are indebted to you. You are our bosses. So I think just continuing to provide the range of programs and make them, as I said before, accessible, affordable, and maintaining the highest quality possible. That's one of the hallmarks of this institution, and that absolutely has to be preserved.
Todd?
Yeah, I think, demographics are destiny, and if you look at the situation facing the state of Illinois, you're going to see that there are fewer and fewer high school graduates happening, and it's going to be a massive drop in the near future in the next 15 years. So the school will need to adjust to that, regardless of what we up here say. There are just fewer warm bodies to fill those seats. So that's why I think I stress marketing, and I think our areas, that's the challenge, okay? The challenge is frankly that, we need students, we need a continuing stream of students. Enrollment's been good this year, but we got to keep that up and pay attention to that enrollment challenge. And it's happening to all community colleges across Illinois, especially Illinois, because Illinois has had out-migration and this has affected it more than other states. And I think traces a prize to that sort of a thing too. The opportunity here that I see is our market doesn't have a 4-year institution. We don't have a small college or a large public university here. So we're able to tap into additional potential bodies of student groups, non-traditional sorts of students, people who may have had some college but can be induced to come here to finish up their degree. I think also with tighter connections to employers, you're going to find more use of training resources here, and that's a very good thing. I'm currently Economic Development Director at Kendall County, and what I see there at Wabunsee and with Joliet Junior College, there's an increasing effort to reach businesses because of that training aspect. But that's the opportunity. Geographically, we're in a good location for dealing with that challenge of the enrollment problem.
Bill?
Like both Todd and Linda have articulated, we do have a shrinking base of students coming out of the high schools. However, we can also have a growing base of people going out for trade schools. We need to keep moving forward with expanding our trade school programs. With people who are going back into the workforce or want to transition after working in another field for several years. I think that's an important thing. I think that the administration has been spot on addressing to that, and we need to make sure that we're offering the classes that, like I had said earlier, that are needed in the area, so we don't have the brain drain. So when students come out of here, whether they're 20 years old or they're 40 years old, that they have a skill set that matches the marketplace. I think that's one of our biggest challenges here. I think we're on the right track for that. And again, as Marlene said, we're going to have to navigate an incoming administration to see what happens there, and we need to be prepared. One of the hallmarks, I think, of this college is that we always seem to have a plan. There is always a plan in place, and when we do things do come up here that are outside the norm, there's always a group of people that will come back and make sound decisions to protect the institution. Thank you.
Thank you for that. What do you see as the primary roles of a board member, starting with Todd?
I served for about 5 years on the board of Financial Plus Credit Union, and that was a pretty intensive thing in terms of, watching operations and financials. And I think the role of a board member is to it's just pay attention to the small details. The board member is definitely not a hands-on person. Really, the board member is kind of a peer to the CEO or the president of the institution, providing access to resources to the institution that are hard for the institution to get. I think that's one of the excellent points that I have, which is I think I have a skill set in nonprofit management, which bears upon some of the operations here. Small business business, which does as well, and economic development. So I think that as a board member, you want board members who are a variety of skill sets, not all the same, because what you want basically is a Swiss Army knife for Tracy to wield. You know, if she needs a little magnifying glass, she gets the magnifying glass. If she needs the knife blade, she's got the knife blade. She's got the scissors, she got the scissors. So the board is to be a Swiss Army knife, basically.
Bill?
Similar to what Todd says, I think as a board member, we need to all have unique backgrounds and experiences and take that into the board, because there's some things that I might know better than Todd would know, or something that Linda would know, but we need to have a unified voice when it comes at the end. A board member, first and foremost, needs to listen. You need to listen to the faculty, to the administration, to the students. You need to listen to your outside partners that are affected there. Board members come in with experience. They're to help guide and implement processes that make the college successful. Again, as a board member, I serve on the Starbuck Country Community Foundation as a director as well. We have a similar situation. We have a CEO, which would be comparable to Dr. Morris, and we bring our life skill sets into that as well. It's been a successful organization, and it's a position that I'm proud to be a part of as well. So thank you.
I think the title says it all. Illinois Valley Community College Trustee. Community. We have representatives of the community gathered here today. The board itself is a community, as both Todd and Bill have alluded to. 7 individuals with different perspectives, different strengths, different weaknesses, all committed to working together for the highest good of this institution. So community. And then trust. Trustee. Unfortunately, I'm sure we can all point out situations where we've been tasked with selecting someone to represent us in various ways, and later on came to have, well, what we call buyer's remorse, right? Maybe they did not prove trustworthy in the role that we had entrusted them to. And there's certain remedies, of course, but I can promise you I will never ever break the trust of the Illinois Valley Community College District. I'm not suggesting that any member of the board would, but I want to guarantee you that once upon a time there was a statesperson, and I'm showing my age, Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, and he said, all politics is local. And I admit that in the past, I did not appreciate the power and the responsibility of our local officials, of which our school boards, this trustee group is one. So we live here, we work here, we'll probably die here. We are invested, and you can count on that.
Thank you.
I think one of the heartening things of this campaign, if you want to call it, has been just hearing people's individual stories as I go along. You know, many people as persons by themselves or their families have been affected by IVCC in various positive ways. So it's, and over decades. So that's been an inspirational kind of thing to me. And you know, I know this area very, very well, and it's great to talk to people from across it. But it's amazing to me, in my heart, to see how this has a place in so many people's lives in a positive way. And if you weren't a student here, that's fine. But you have to realize that this is kind of a real engine for the community.
The next question is, Bureau County is the second largest section of the IVCC district behind only LaSalle County, yet Bureau County has no representatives on the Board of Trustees, and all 3 of you in this election live in LaSalle County. If elected, what would you do to ensure that Bureau County's residents' best interests are served at IVCC?
Can I take that one? No, okay.
We'll start with Bill.
Okay. I agree. The representation on the board should be equal across all counties and stuff like that. We were at a meeting last week with the Rotary Club in Princeton where we stated just that fact. Marlene and I were out there. We had encouraged people in Princeton to get involved, look at the college, become active at the college, get in some sort of ground support, and get on the board. The college is better served when we have across the board representation. There are a lot of representatives right now in LaSalle County. That is very true. But in LaSalle County, we have a lot of towns that are not represented. For instance, say Oglesby, where I live, there's nobody on the board, and the college is in Oglesby. Mendota does not have a representative on the board. So you can go on and on and on for what it's at. So I agree that's an issue, but that's an issue that we need to go out there as ourselves and recruit people that we think are qualified to be part of these boards and get them involved. It's not as a board member on other committees that are also in here. I'm on the foundation board. That's a wonderful place to get involved in with the foundation. Foundation is a very intricate part of this school, of this college, and I think you could find members, and that board does do a good job as far as getting people from outside of LaSalle County. So I appreciate the question, and I think that, yeah, we need to do a better job doing a better representation across all the board.
Linda Marlene?
Well, basically, I'm going to keep it brief. I concur. I do believe in representation because when you see yourself reflected in a body, when you know the person is your neighbor or the person down the street, you can go right to them and talk to them and have informal conversations. It means a lot. So we do need to work toward a representative board across the diversity of this 2,000 square mile district.
Todd?
Well, I'll be the devil's advocate. There could be 3 people from Princeton up here if they wanted to run. But I think that speaks in a broader way to, hey, we need to keep our visibility good in Princeton. I lived many years in Princeton, and I keep up my Princeton contacts. The mayor goes, and I go back. He was 17, I think, when we first met. But I sort of consider myself a quasi-Princetonian, even though I live in Ottawa, because I went to Princeton High School. I know a lot of the people there. But I would encourage people from Princeton to get active and get involved.
The next question is, how do you plan on advocating for equality and safety on behalf of IVCC's minority groups? Starting with Linda Marlene.
I know that this is a time of heightened uncertainty and anxiety. We hear things on the daily press that are disturbing. When you're here to get an education, that is what you need to focus on. That is your highest priority. Whatever has brought you here. We want to help each and every student's dreams come true. And so I know that the college has rigorous policies regarding bullying or any sorts of intimidation, and I absolutely will continue to support those. And again, if I would be elected, I would be out here a great deal, setting up in the Student Life Center, walking around the different departments, chatting with people, saying, hey, you're my boss, which you are. If you elect me, you are my boss. And I want to be accessible to you, and if there's things that arise, I want to know about it so I can help you access the appropriate faculty, staff, administrator to address whatever your concerns are.
Todd?
Yeah, I think the board members would probably want, as a best solution for problems there, to support the school policies and the school staff, the administrators who are charged with administering those policies. I think the best that I could do as a board member, if there is someone who's bullied, would be to refer them to the appropriate staff person. As far as I know, the school's up to date with those policies and takes seriously those kinds of protections. We want a dignified environment here where people are treated like adults and they're expected to behave like adults.
Bill?
schools in general should be safe harbor for students. You shouldn't have to come to school and be nervous that something could happen. Unfortunately, we're in a different day and age right now where schools become some of the most flashpoints for stuff like that. I think as a trustee or any part capacity of school, students need to be respected, shown dignity, and that needs to be the policy and the emphasis by everybody involved. I think IVCC, again, Todd, to your point, does a great job as far as having programs and policy in place that does that very theme. But we have to be cognizant of what's going on out there. It's a different day and age, and we all need to be aware, and we all need to be a comforting fact when if there are issues where students know they have a safe zone to go to. Thank you.
How will you remain neutral and supportive to all faculty, students, and staff needs in this highly politically divided climate? We'll start with Todd.
Could you repeat that? I'm kind of confused. I'm trying to get what the sense of that is.
How will you remain neutral and supportive to all faculty, students, and staff needs in this highly politically divided climate?
Highly divided what?
Climate.
Climate. Oh, okay. Okay. I think the people who deal with the students predominantly are going to be the faculty and the administrators. I think that when it comes to political opinions that exist outside on a national basis, I don't think that's really relevant to what's going on within IVCC. We're not here to be political. We're here to be nonpartisan. We're here to be objective, to treat people fairly and equally. We're not here to make any political or partisan stances. It would be a mistake to think so. I think when it comes to issues of that sort, requiring the institution, should it be that case, to do that, that would be the president's prerogative.
Bill?
As Todd mentioned, these are nonpartisan positions that we are. We are not a political entity. We're not here to debate politics as it is. Our job here is to support the college, the administration, the faculty, and the students. And that's it. We can have our own private political ideologies, but it should never enter into the boardroom or into any discussions. We are a sounding board for the administration, faculty, and students, nothing more.
Linda Marlene?
Again, both Todd and Bill have definitely expressed my own position, my own belief. When I was a student here and an instructor, we had individuals participating in our program from a variety of areas, different backgrounds, social backgrounds, or what have you. And when they walked into the classroom, everyone was equal. I didn't check what their address was or what if they had a political affiliation or what their tattoo stated. I was there to introduce them and guide them in a professional capacity. And so I absolutely endorse the nonpartisan nature of this election and also maintaining that stance in making important decisions that the board would be called upon to do.
What are your views on book bans? Starting, wait, where were we?
I didn't tell you what I got my degree in. I was a double major in political science and philosophy. If you're in philosophy, and I got a graduate degree in philosophy, so don't hit me, but if you're in philosophy, you love open discussion, you love dialogue, you love crazy ideas, you love bad ideas, you love poor ideas. You want to discuss them. You want to open freely. Academic freedom is one of the wonderful prerogatives of being at IVCC. You can walk into a classroom and say crazy stuff. If you got a bad idea, the chances are good that people are going to say, hey, that's a bad idea, here's why. Okay? Philosophy is all about that. So book bans are crazy because if you want book bans, that blocks free speech, that blocks free thinking. Okay? That's what I think about book bans. Period.
Bill?
I just say no to book bans. It's important that information is out there. People can go any place they want to find their answers. To have a book ban is to say that your idea is not worth it. So I spend 9 hours a week at the Oglesby Public Library. I got to tell you, having kids come in and you see a kid get their brand new library card and they pick out a book for the first time and you watch their face light up as they begin to explore what's in that book. The idea that you would somehow have a group or somebody who would say, these books aren't worth reading. Everything is worth reading. It's how you interpret it. So I say no to book bans.
Linda Marlene.
A famous science fiction author who was born in Illinois, Ray Bradbury, wrote a seminal work of fiction, Fahrenheit 451. And it revolved around this question in a rather dramatic fashion. The main character was a fireman whose job was to burn banned books. I read that when I was 12, 13, and it left a lasting impression. I thought it was absurd that could never happen. And then, as I grew into adulthood and loved history and literature, I learned about periods in the history of the world, Nazi Germany, where there were public spectacles, pyres of flaming books. Now, we don't live in those days, thankfully. But we know that things like that have happened. It's not just in science fiction writers' minds. And so, absolutely, that is anathema to who I am and to my own personal philosophy. No book ban.
Thank you. Student engagement is down. Do you have any comments on how to encourage more student activity? And we'll start with Bill.
Engaging students, yeah, that's important. It's a phenomenon that we see with social media and stuff. What we have out there, kids are so involved in social media, they don't feel the need to come to the college and participate and stuff. Todd made a good point earlier about marketing. We need to market specifically to students. We need to have their input. What do they want to see at the college? What excites them? What makes it something? And you can use social media for that as well. But we just have to probably pivot a little bit, find out what's going on, get a core group of students or get a student body involved, and tell us what you want to see here. The school is adaptable to that, to providing services and stuff that you would be, that you would like to see here. So I think that we need to probably, like I said, engage the students, engage the faculty, and try to come to consensus what's needed at the college.
Linda Marlene.
Well, I'd like to just do a shout out to the student groups that are sponsoring today's event. The Student Government Association, College Democrats, College Republicans, Hispanic Leadership Team, Socrates Cafe, Project Success Leadership Team, and Rotaract Club. I have a student handbook here, and there are about 40 different groups, clubs, sports, etc., that are listed that this college provides and offers. Now, obviously, given any one individual student's background, their age, their interests, they might not have time for an extracurricular activity, but just knowing that it exists strengthens the fabric of the community here and provides possibilities. So I would just say continue to keep on doing what you're doing, communicate via all the different ways, the electronic bulletin board, your email, your signs, and what have you, and make sure that every time a new person comes in, that they feel welcome and appreciated, that you acknowledge them for taking the time to check you out as a student organization.
Todd?
That's a difficult challenge. I taught 15 years or so ago a number of classes, and students had jobs. Students sometimes had 2 jobs. It's very difficult. My flippant answer would be free pizza, but the fact of the matter is maybe doing things in the evening might be the best thing. But I think what I would do would be ask the students for suggestions what works best for their time schedules. And it might be the case that some meetings have to be held at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday or 6 in the morning on a Thursday. But I think the students might be a good part of that solution for that. And I got to say, I respect the idea that your education is more than the classroom. Your education comes from your peers, interacting with your peers, talking to them about the great ideas, and then talking about little crappy ideas too that don't matter much. But having a fun time together really matters. It's interesting to me. I'm in the workforce development field as economic development director. I'm seeing classes pop up on soft skills all over the place, and I'm concerned, I think just like Bill is, about social media being a difficult thing at a time in a person's life when it's important to learn those soft skills. So trying to find those solutions, I think, just might come from starting with asking the students. And free pizza. I like pizza.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, it's good.
In the current political climate, how are you going to deal with the end of DEI? Starting with Linda Marlene.
Well, a rose is a rose is a rose. Unfortunately now, some terms, diversity, equity, inclusion, access, they've become politically charged words. We don't have to use those words. If we believe in the concepts, we will continue to conduct ourselves with those values in mind, and we will continue to communicate, as another question alluded to, that this is a safe space, a welcoming space, that you, the students, are our highest priority. We understand why you're here, and we want to help you, your dreams, whatever they are, manifest and come true.
Todd?
Yeah, I think if you're an adult in a position of leadership, position of responsibility, you're going to want to treat each person as they come to you on a fair and equal basis. I doubt very much that the staff and faculty at IVCC differ from that. I tend to have confidence that the staff and faculty at IVCC will continue to treat students and their fellow coworkers, people around them, with respect and treat them as with the integrity and dignity that they deserve as a person.
Bill?
Could you restate the question again? There was one part at the end I wanted to hit.
In the current political climate, how are you going to deal with the end of DEI?
Well, is it the end of DEI? Obviously certain institutions and certain parts of the federal government have stopped DEI, but I think that's an individual choice by corporations, schools, and to maintain those same practices. Similar to what Todd and Marlene have said, we need to respect everybody. DEI is turned into such a charged word. It's turned into something where there's a political divide. You're either on one side or the other. When we can all agree on that diversity, equity, and inclusion just purely says treat people with fairness and honesty and treat them like you want to be treated yourself. So you can change the name, you can change the policy, but you're not going to change the meaning of DEI. You can rebrand it as something else, but it's something that will never really go away. So thank you.
So that was our final no card.
Questions from the floor?
I think
We can question one another.
open up Q&A style. Does anyone else have any final questions they would like to ask? All right, we will allow the candidates to now have a 3-minute closing statement, starting with Todd.
Oh, okay. I think I mentioned my background. I'm actively engaged. I'm fully employed. I work for Kendall County as the Economic Development Director. In that capacity, I'm doing things like planning job fairs. I'm talking to other community colleges. I'm putting together things involving trade unions. I'm putting together also visits to employers. I know a lot of the employers throughout the Illinois Valley. I feel that that's an important thing for IVCC to be connected to, those kinds of things. I think my skill set, again, is very good because I've got some nonprofit nonprofit experience, actually setting up foundations and fundraising. I've had experience running a small business, and I've had experience with local government in the economic development area. And I think economic development and local businesses connect tightly to the community colleges. And if you see what's happening on the state level, you're going to find that the state of Illinois and DECIO, they're all going to want to get a little tighter to community colleges because they realize the payoff the community colleges provide. And let me give you a really quick little statistic here. You get a 40% pay raise if you've got a long-term certificate or an associate's in applied science. That's an important thing. That's important for the individual. It's also important for the local economy. So that's my statement. I'm bringing a skill set that is very valuable to an organization like this. I want to contribute because, as I said, I'm a fourth-generation Illinois Valley resident. My family, going back to my great-grandfather, has always been involved in community affairs. My mother was on the board of St. Bede, Bureau County Board. My grandfather was on the LaSalle County Posse. I've got his badge. It's kind of fun. But that's my statement.
Bill?
You all know our backgrounds by now. You've seen our profiles in the newspaper and stuff like that. I just want to do a personal story. I'm an immigrant's kid. I know I don't look like an immigrant's kid, but I am. My parents were born in Ireland. They came here to America in the 1950s. Not citizens, still spoke Gaelic. They had broken English too as well. We were able to assimilate in this country in one generation. I got three brothers. We were the first ones born here. My oldest brother, Tim, is a retired captain on the Chicago Fire Department. My brother Tom works in orthopedic medicine in Chicago. My brother Pat is the president of one of the largest banks in Chicago, Marquette Bank. I'm a retired treasury agent and offered all kinds of things to the community. I think if you look at the community in general, everybody out there does a chance. Well, I'm one generation, so when people say, we don't want to give people a step up, I am a beneficiary of a step up once in a while. I got points coming out of the military to get it, and I think I've taken that and I've honored that thing I've honored the opportunity that I've been given. I think my brothers have done the very same, and I would bring that same kind of cause and passion to IVCC and to the community in general. So thank you for your time today. I appreciate you guys listening to us.
Lynn and Marlene?
I'm also a student of genealogy, and my great-great-great-grandparents were some of the earliest settlers in LaSalle County, arriving via covered wagon from Pennsylvania. They established a prosperous farm, but they not only focused on farming, they were also integrated into their community, very aware of the politics of the time. This is the middle of the 19th century, and very concerned about social issues, particularly abolitionism. My family had a farm on Colville Creek, Fall River Township, and they were conductors on the Underground Railroad. At the time, assisting runaway people who had been enslaved was against the law. They could have been jailed. They could have lost their farm. They stood up for the principles that they believed in, both religious and moral principles. That's part of my heritage. I can also trace my family directly to two individuals who were on the Mayflower, a direct line. But also, like Bill, I have a great-great-grandfather who came to the United States at the tender age of 12 as an orphan in the middle of the 19th century, immigrated from County Cork because he had nowhere else to go. And he crossed the ocean, landed in New York, finished his education, became a skilled tradesperson, a craftsman, a carpenter, married a woman, and sought their fortune in the West, which was Illinois. And so my surname is Bray. My present name is Moshage. My husband's family immigrated from northern Germany in the early 50s. My husband is a first-generation American. His parents came with $50 to their name, also speaking broken English, and went on to have 5 children, contributed to this area's economy through Karis Chemical. So I care about this place, and I'm honored to be a part of this community. And if you so choose, I will be honored to represent you on the Illinois Valley Community Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, how you doing?
I'd like to thank you all for coming, and again, for your time, and thank our moderators, please. Thought they did a really good job. And remember, the election is April 1st. You can vote early. You can wait till April 1st and vote then. If you want to talk more to the candidates, I'm sure they'll be willing to hang out for a few minutes afterwards. And again, thank you for coming to IVCC.